Hi, I'm Dan Leonard in the East.
And I'm George Whittam in the West.
And together we are East-West Audio Body Shop. Well, we have a fabulous show for you this Monday night. One of our favorite people in the entire world, or at least in the Bay Area, J.S. Gilbert will be with us, and we're going to have a fabulous discussion about all sorts of stuff, but we're going to lead off with talking about ISDN.
Yeah, ISDN. It's been a real powder keg of a topic lately with all these new internet audio technologies coming along, so we'll all be sharing our thoughts. JS will certainly be weighing in. I'm going to share a Whittam's World with you guys this week, and the topic will be a surprise. So you're going to want to tune in to see what it is.
Well, it means you're not going to have to figure that out. Anyway, join us this Monday night, 9 o'clock in the East.
And 6 o'clock in the West.
And join us in the chat room because that's going to be a lot of fun this week. And we'll see you there.
He's the home voiceover studio engineer to the stars in Los Angeles, California. A Virginia Tech grad whose knowledge of the latest recording gear is second to none. He's a voice actor and the home studio master, hailing from Buffalo, New York. His home studio skills and knowledge of voiceover recording is unmatched. When Dan and George talk shop, people listen, and the talk continues tonight. Welcome to East-West Audio Body Shop. And now, live from his high-tech facility in Santa Monica and his penthouse studio in Buffalo, here are George Whittam and Dan Leonard.
Good evening. I'm Dan Leonard in the East.
And I'm George Whittam in the West.
And together we are East-West Audio Body Shop. Well, it's Monday night once again, and what else are you going to do? Watch the Olympics?
Snorefest.
What is it? Snorefest, speed skating, watching Dutchmen fall on their face. They're either from the Netherlands or from Syracuse U. I'm not quite sure.
I only watched the opening ceremonies, which were, I like pretty lights.
Yeah.
And cool video effects and amazing productions. So I actually got a huge kick out of it. I mean, I thought it was pretty freaking amazing.
And I like Russian music, so it was good for everybody.
So that was pretty cool.
I like skiing and shooting.
Wait a minute. Who's talking off the camera over here?
We have a guest tonight in studio joining us, coming all the way down from the Bay Area.
There's nothing
J.S.
better than
Gilbert.
skiing and shooting. Skiing and shooting.
At the same time.
Yeah, I like that.
I think I think next year's version of it, the X Games version of that sport, should actually be skiing and shooting, like simultaneally. Wouldn't that be way cooler?
And what you could do is you could have bankers running, and you shoot at the bankers.
Hadn't thought about that. Well,
I like it.
We got lots to talk about tonight with JS, but first off, I have to use my official JS Gilbert bottle opener. And
cheers.
And l'chaim, everybody. By the way, this is Great Lakes beer, and it is Edmund Fitzgerald brew. So hopefully I won't get that sinking feeling tonight.
Cheers, everyone.
All right.
Oh, you made that a little strong. Whew.
Yeah. Ooh, that's good.
Yeah.
Anyway, much better than the salsa I was initially brought. But anyway.
Any port in the storm.
That's right.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
No, please go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, we've got a couple of topics to talk about tonight. First, I mean, we have JS with us, and we'll talk with him a little bit more in depth about some other stuff. But this week, I got a little bit of an echo there, George.
Is that right?
I do. So,
Oh, my speakers are off.
Yeah, a little better, a little lower on that monitor over there.
How about this? Does that
help? Yeah, it's sort of there, but I'll be all right.
Well,
anyway,
best of luck to you, my friend.
Thank you. This week, there was a great thread in one of the forums about ISDN and about IPDTL or IPDTL, depending on how you call it. So to prove a point, this evening, my voice is coming to you via IPDTL.
I just noticed that echo is there. Anybody hearing that on the air? If you're in the chat room and you're hearing slight amounts of echo, raise your hand. Because when I monitor the USB codec feed, I do hear it. 1, 2?
Yeah. Well, we'll know in about 30 seconds.
I mean, it's a little bit, but it's not terrible.
Like we're in an art gallery.
Are your speakers on your end turned on?
They're off completely.
Okay. Very good.
Yes. Well, now realize we're trying some new technology here. It probably sounds fabulous from your end.
I hope so.
I mean, if it sounds good to George, it's got to sound fabulous to you guys, because this is totally different. We're proving that that IPDTL and some of the other non-ISDN codecs that go straight over the internet, it's time for ISDN to become IS dead end.
Yeah.
And I've had enough of this. There are studios that are holding on to this technology, and it is time for them to start using some of these technologies, which, by the way, sound better, are much cheaper, and it allows for a much wider choice of talents to be able to do the type of work that we do, which I think is voiceover. At least it was this morning. And
since when in audio do we ever pick the better choice?
Well, it's not a matter of better choice, JS. I mean, it's a matter of who is the best choice for any one particular thing.
Right.
So I get a little ticked off when I start reading in these forums, well, this will be bad because everybody with a microphone and an IPDTL or Source Connect or SoundStreet can get into this. Well, guess what? If they suck, it's not going to matter.
Exactly.
What happened to, it's like we have to protect ourselves from these newbies. The way you protect yourself from newbies is to be better than them. That was my rant.
But here's what I see with ISDN, and I'm totally with you. George knows. I just went through heck with AT&T. They accidentally shut my ISDN off.
Oh.
I didn't know about it because it was around Thanksgiving until I got actually my check sent back to me 6 weeks later and it was around Christmas and and finally I got the thing turned back on, and they were as nice as could be about it. So I'm certainly not married to it. And then now I'm doing some promo work and other stuff, and I'm on the road occasionally and like to be more often. So yeah, but when you look at it, you say, what is it about ISDN? It isn't a single source solution. It's a standard, like USB, like other standards that are out there. And so what that means is that a lot of people can compete in that arena. So you have the folks at MusicCam and you have the folks at Telos and a lot of other people that are developing hardware and codec and all that kind of stuff. And you have the providers who want to provide it and the installers that want to install it. When you replace ISDN with something like IPDTL or try to, then you're looking at one company. There's no room for other people to come in. My thinking is that probably what's going to wind up happening is that Google and possibly somebody else, they're going to come up with a VoIP solution, maybe something similar to IPDTL. But because they're the big boys, they're going to be able to do it, and it's going to be advertising supported. They may have a paid solution that's going to be a little bit better, but it's going to be embraced by the clients, big clients out there. I mean, we're looking at Fortune 500 companies that are using ISDN, and we're looking at major studios. So that's my thinking. And then maybe there'll be a place for people to be able to do plugins or third-party support or whatever.
I don't think Google will ever try to provide something that would be considered like pro. I mean, that's possible. I don't know if they have any interest in going to the pro market, but I will tell you that Google Hangouts already has what they call studio mode. And Dan and I played with it a while ago. And studio mode is using the same codec. And in fact, the reason why, if anybody wondered why with IPDTL, why you have to use Chrome, it's because the bits and pieces that makes Google Hangouts Studio work are wrapped into Chrome. You have to use Chrome to use IPDTL because the functionality is built into Chrome. It wouldn't work in any other browser. So IPDTL is just providing a way for two different guys to connect to each other over the internet. They're providing a directory service so you can find each other.
Yeah.
But the technology is already there. And Google Hangouts has already been able to do this for a while now. But it's still, Google Hangouts doesn't feel professional. It's constantly being upgraded and updated. I mean, Dan and I use it every month to do the Hangouts, and every show,
that was fun.
It's different.
That was fun. The Google Hangout show
fun,
where I
wasn't it?
was trying to figure out how to log in.
See, that's what's going to keep Google from entering the professional world, because it's too much of a kludge, and it doesn't feel like a professional solution.
Define kludge.
Kludge is what we do every single week to make this show happen. That's a kludge. But it can't feel in any way like a kludge. It has to feel like something as slick and simple and reliable as ISDN. And so there are ISDN-like solutions that use the internet, like JS was talking about. There's Comrex Access. There's Zip, which is the Zephyr IP.
Right.
And there's a bunch of them out there. And you know, we all could be goofing around with all these software solutions, and then NBC and CBS could all of a sudden install Zips in their studios, and guess what? Well, we'll all have to use Zephyr IPs. The one good thing about the Zip, though, is there's this other software, and we tested it on the show already, called Lucy.
Soundstreet.
Yeah.
Lucy.
No,
Yes.
Lucy.
I saw Lucy.
Lucy.
Lucy. Now that's designed for radio more, right?
It is, but
Yeah.
Lucy is also a two-way audio codec as well. And Lucy will connect to a Zephyr IP or a Comrex Access. So now you can have a hardware box back at the radio station or back at the, the trailer house or whoever's hiring you, and you can have Lucy running on an iPhone, an Android, a Windows, anything. It'll run on anything.
And it seems like a lot of the ISDN boxes that have been built the last year or so have additional kinds of provisions for some sort of other VoIP IP. You'll forgive me, I don't, this is not one area of technology that I really climb into.
Well, that's why, we all have different levels of experience with this stuff. That's why we're talking about it tonight.
Yeah.
But we've tried them all, and
Pretty much.
they all have their little quirks and stuff like that. But cost-wise, I don't see why anybody wouldn't, anybody who's a voice talent should have this in their arsenal of stuff. The question becomes, why are not producers and studios and all those guys saying, well, it's unreliable, or perhaps they don't trust some of us to have really good sounding studios? And
Well,
But
yeah, I think
Spears
there's
didn't
that
much?
too. I'll be honest.
unless they
with
watch
you,
this show, of course. Which,
Right.
people don't know, but I come from the other side of the glass. So before I was a voice talent, I was an ad agency schmuck. And I hired a lot of talent and directed talent and cast talent and whatever you want to call it. And I think there's this, there's this thing called VO 2.0 that I call it. And I come from the old world, and I could sit here and tell you the good stories about 20 years ago. They have almost no bearing. They have almost no bearing, and they have almost no value to people that are trying to make a go of VO now. Every day I change my mind, I change my course, and I change my business.
and hopefully
It
you
seems
change your
like it.
underwear.
No, that's minor because we're alone in the studio. So really, and the dog doesn't care. The dog does not care at all if I shower or if I don't. So, it can be weeks at a time. It's just, they have to fumigate, but I digress.
Yes, I'm sorry. It was I who digressed. Continue on.
I have no idea what I was actually saying, Dan. It's amazing. I know people find it hard to believe I don't do drugs, but that's the truth. I don't.
And I work with a lot of voice actors, and I always say to them, give me a little read, give me a little something, give me a level. And unless they have a piece of script in front of them, they are useless. They're
like Obama.
It could be. No, I think the point I was going to make is that I see a lot in the VO community now where people are saying, we have to educate the people who hire us. We have to, and maybe there are some people out there that holds true, but I can tell you a perfect example. Last year I was doing a national spot at a professional studio, and as luck would have it, it was a 30-second TV spot that was 37 seconds long. And so they were doing cuts, and I get the hang on talent, we'll be with you as soon as we can. and they cut off my mic, and I'm sitting there, and it's a half an hour goes by, and I've already looked at the script, and I know exactly where you can make a cut. But so I bang on the glass, and the engineer says, yeah, and I point to the mic, and so I said, you know, I had an idea for where you can make a cut. It seems, and boom, the guy from the ad agency hits the talkback mic, and he says, thanks, talent. We're the ones being paid to have the idea today.
Ooh.
So, I mean, it normally doesn't go that way. I do get some respect for the craft or whatever, but it's why I don't call myself an artist, and it's why I don't think that it's my job to educate the client.
Right.
So I'm not so sure from that standpoint of, you know, we need to be in charge and tell them we have to use other things besides ISDN. I don't know to how well that's going to work.
Well, I see. Here's the way I look at it. It's not a matter of saying you guys have to use this other stuff, but eventually you're not going to have the other one.
It's
so
true.
Why not have a total arsenal? Why don't you have this in your toolkit as well? And you may have a talent that you really want that's going to be perfect for a particular project you're working on, and perhaps they don't have ISDN in their neighborhood, or they don't have ISDN themselves, but they can use this, and it will give them access to a lot more choice. And everything is about choice, because he with the most choices wins.
Look at how, though the professional world is so slow to move, I got into this business, and it was the AKG C414 mic, a piano mic that all the studios on the West Coast were using for voiceover. It is the worst voiceover mic there is. I don't care. You could be totally non-sibilant. You get on this mic and you sound like suffering succotash.
Yes.
It was the worst microphone. And then they slowly moved into a U87 and then the 416. So now, as far as the world of studios is concerned, do you see people being mic'd on anything besides a U87 or a 416 in a pro studio?
TLM 103s, that's about the only other real variation.
Okay, yeah, I guess the TLM 103 now.
That's pretty
but
much it.
But there's 1,000. I have 40 microphones at home that I use. I've got everything from Telefunken 47s to a Copperhead. I've got Rhodes. I've got modded stuff from Mike Jolly and Klaus. I've got all kinds of mics.
You're into it. You're a mic guy.
But when it comes down to it, I have a U87 and I have a 416. Part of the reason why I got those two mics is because I know if I do something at a pro studio and then later on they call me in 2 days and they go, you know what, they changed one line or they did this, I can record it in my studio and just, sail it in and they'll have no problem patching. So I only bring this up because, if people ask what microphone should I get, that's certainly one way you can pick them. Not everybody can afford $1,000 plus on a mic, but it really says more about the mentality out there of the resistance to change. And the 414 was a horrible microphone. And yet how many, Emmy and Academy Award winning jobs were done with it, and how many engineers went crazy having to EQ it, and how long did it take before another mic came in? So I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting discussion and an interesting point of view. I mean, everybody has their point of view on this, but I'm always about choice and opening up the market and really democratizing the voiceover business. Now that we can do it over the internet, just do our work over the internet and send things out, it's also going to become a matter of these folks trusting our studios, which again is why you tune into this show, and you work with guys like George and I to help you make sure that your sound is, excuse the term, broadcast quality, which doesn't exist.
Well, it does, but in another era.
Yeah, like 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to take a little break right now, and George has something coming up. We're not exactly sure what, but we'll figure it out. And we'll have a little bit more with JS. And if you guys want to join in the conversation and you're not in our chat room, just make sure you go to EWABS.com, go to the page where it says live stream and chat, and click on chat and join us in the chat room.
If you have any questions or anything like that, or comments, if you like the hair, I stopped using the Grecian formula.
That's good,
working.
man.
All
Go
right.
with it.
All right. Well, all right. We'll be right back after this, so don't go away.
So what else are you planning on doing tonight? I thought so. Now back to East West Audio Body Shop with Dan and George.
Well, thank you. Well, we're back, and I have to give a thank you to somebody. You know, you guys keep sending me this stuff. These are Dapper Stash's drink markers from our good friend Diane and Lisa Biggs in South Carolina. You know, so I should actually take these out and put this on my beer so we all know it's my beer. Not that anybody else would be having a beer in here. But thank you, ladies. Love you. Thank you for sending those over. Yeah, it's amazing how much mustache stuff I have. It's just piling up. I have an actual drawer full of mustache things. You know, mustache straws, mustache goodie bags, mustache thank you cards. It just piles up. I mean, come on. Although you may notice that on my studio, I have put the legendary Chuck and Stacy. I don't know how well you can see it in there.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, it's now. I now have the mustache thing there on the Oralex in there.
The scarf.
Yes, the mustache scarf is now in there.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Anyway, so I digress. Also, but you have a Whittam's World for us this week.
Well, actually, I figured I would share some fun stuff from the NAMM show.
Ooh.
And mix it up a little bit. So
incoming.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's a different NAMM.
NAMM. The NAMM show. So anyway,
NAMM show.
I'm going to feature a few things tonight. How about one on from our buddies at CEntrance, the makers of the mic port. We'll have something from them about the new MixerFace.
March.
Yeah, and we've got stuff from Cathedral Pipes microphones, which, you know, I know we don't say we love tube mics on here, but, you know, when a local company that hand builds a mic and makes it like not $6,000, I like to feature them. I think that's pretty cool. And then Universal Audio Apollo Twin, which, again, it's pretty out there for a lot of people, but I think it's a really cool all-in-one box. And then I'll feature the Equator D5 monitors, which
You've
are
lost me already.
way up on the bang for the buck. So here we go. No, without further ado.
Hi, this is Michael Goodman of CEntrance. I'm coming to you live from NAMM Show 2014, right here in Anaheim, California. Here at the NAMM Show, our company, CEntrance, is presenting its newest product called MixerFace. What this is a portable interface for the iPhone, iPod, or iPad. It has two boutique, low-noise, studio-grade preamps with phantom power, which you can see right here with the orange light. Each preamp features a gain knob, over 54 dBs of gain, really clean gain with low noise. And you can plug basically two condenser microphones, quality microphones, into this thing, and it'll convert them into an iPod or an iPhone. So here what I have is an application called Twisted Wave, which is used a lot in voiceover applications. I'm going to select a new track, 48 kilohertz recording, and I'm going to press record. This application is like $2 or $3 at the App Store, right? So what's happening now is I have this studio condenser microphone from Shure right over here, which is being phantom powered from MixerFace. This is a really short XLR cable going right into one of those channels, and I can control the level of the microphone. You can see that I can go into clipping both inside the application, which keeps bouncing back and forth as I rotate the product, or you can see that I'm going into clipping. If you look right here at the input of the preamp, right, and I can go into clipping, and that'll tell me what's going on here. The red light comes on about 60 dB below clipping. Okay, so this is a really easy way to record professional level audio into an iPod. This is an iPod Touch right here, an iPhone or an iPad.
Make it easier on you.
Thank you. On the back, really quickly, I'll show you what kind of controls we have for simplicity. This product right here has regular USB input, so you can use it with a computer, like a computer recording interface. It has an iPhone input, and we give you one of those convenient little short connectors that allows you to plug a 30-pin or a lightning version iPhone into the product, reducing the cable clutter. It's got a regular charger input, and then, by the way, MixerFace will charge your iPhone. It's got phantom power that's selectable. You can turn it on for one channel or for both channels. It's got a dry-wet control, which is basically the level, allows you to mix the level that comes in from the microphone with the level of the music bed in case you're narrating over some music, right? So that allows you to maintain the mix between those two things.
It's also really useful if they're doing Source Connect and there's a return feed from the studio. Sometimes that can be much too loud. It lets you control how much of that back feed comes from the studio.
Thanks, George. There's another feature that I think your customers are really going to love. So moving right along, this is the volume control, just like your headphone volume, and this is the headphone jack. But this is the jack the switch that I was talking about that I think people are going to really appreciate. This is a pan control. This is a smart pan control. In the leftmost position, the headphones are monitoring in stereo, which is great for, a microphone like this, which is basically a stereo microphone, gives you two outputs, a VP88 from Shure. If you're recording a classical concert or something like that, you probably want to monitor in stereo. Now, if you're going towards a voiceover application or something like that, you might want to switch that to middle position, in which case you will have left channel in the middle of your head, but the right channel still on the right, which allows you to feed a producer cue or a Source Connect feed into the right channel, or you can reverse, and that will become a left channel, right? And in the rightmost position, both channels are in mono. So that is probably more useful for if you're a guitar player or some sort of an instrument player, and then you're plugging in guitar and bass. You can monitor both of those instruments in the middle of your head. It just makes it more convenient rather than one on the left, one on the right. But I think the really important feature for this market, the voiceover market, is the middle position of the pan switch, which allows you to have a cue show up in the middle of the ear, of the head, and then have your voice show up in the cue show up on the side of the head, and your voice show up in the middle of the head. Okay, so MixerFace from CEntrance, very simple recording interface for the iPhone. Once again, it comes with two very convenient straps. The product is really lightweight. It works on over 6 hours on a single charge. It charges, as I already said, your iPhone. It will be available this April, and it will cost $600. But right now, for a couple more weeks, you can get it on Indiegogo for just $299, because we're running this Indiegogo campaign to help us bootstrap the project and get it to market faster. We'll bring it to market no matter what. It doesn't really matter how much money we make on Indiegogo campaign. We're an existing firm. We're just trying to get more excitement out there. Share it to your friends. There's a link here. It's this link right here is the one you should go to and get your own copy of MixerFace for just $299. For just
Hi there, I'm Gannon from Universal Audio, and I want to talk to you about Apollo Twin. Apollo Twin is our newest addition to the Apollo interface family, and it is exactly like its larger brothers, and it uses much the same components. So its top features are class-leading audio quality, real-time UAD plug-in processing, new Thunderbolt drivers, and unison preamp technology. So I'll talk about each of those things in succession here. Class-leading audio quality. We use the same exact electrical components as what are found on the Apollo rack mount model. So same mic preamps, same 24-192 conversion, and the same digitally controlled analog output section. So it has the highest audio specs of any desktop audio interface. It sounds wonderful. We run UAD2 processing, real-time UAD2 processing. So if you're recording a voice, for example, you can track with EQ and compression and hear yourself without any latency. You can hear yourself with backing tracks without any latency, regardless of the buffer size of your DAW. That's really important. So if you're trying to hear yourself and you want to make yourself sound good, that's what the UAD Apollo workflow is all about. You can do inserts in real time. You can have echo sends if you want to hear effects like reverb or delays. Those are all happening in real time in the audio interface and not making the trip back to the host computer and back. So real-time UAD processing. When you're done, if you're mixing your program material, those same DSP resources that are in the audio interface can be used in your DAW. So if you're tracking in Pro Tools or Logic or Studio One or whatever DAW you're working with, the same DSP resources are available for mixing. We're introducing with Apollo Twin a new Thunderbolt driver set, and this carries PCIe audio as well as the UAD driver code across the Thunderbolt bus. So that gives us the lowest latency and highest performance we're able to offer so far. This same driver set ships with Apollo Twin and will be available to Apollo and Apollo 16 in the next coming software release, so in about a month. Lastly, I want to talk about unison mic preamp technology. Unison mic preamp technology is a breakthrough hybrid analog and digital modeling technique that allows us to recreate authentically tube and transistor-based, solid-state-based microphone preamps. We do this in a very unique way in that we have control over the digitally controlled analog mic preamps, and we can change their impedance and gain staging in the analog domain prior to A to D conversion. That enables us to get the color and the performance of classic tube mic preamps. So if you really want that warm glow of your voice, you want to put a Unison 610B on there and be able to drive that tube and make it glow, make it be warm, and give it the characteristic of a classic microphone preamp. We model all the components in DSP, and we control the hardware from the plugin. So it's the first time we've ever been able to model a transistor or tube-based mic preamp in an audio interface in an end-to-end complete model. So 4 things: class-leading audio specs, real-time UAD processing, new Thunderbolt drivers, and unison mic preamp technology. Apollo Twin is shipping today, and it ships with the Real-Time Classics analog, Real-Time Analog Classics plugins bundle. That includes the 610B mic preamp. It includes 2 amplifiers, so if you're recording guitar or bass, you get the soft tube amps. You get the LA2A compressor, the L1176 compressor. You get the EQP1A EQ, the EQ Pultec Pro. You get the Reverb Reverb, and the CS1 channel strip. 14 plugins in all ship with Apollo Twin. 2 versions. There's Apollo Twin Solo and Apollo Twin Duo.
Hi, I'm Ted Kefalo, president of Equator Audio here at the NAMM show with my friend George, who's got the video camera in hand. He wanted me to talk a little bit about our speakers. Let me first remind everybody who doesn't know that Equator started around 2007 with the Q series, very sophisticated, very high-end, very expensive speakers. The Q15s are $4,000 each, the Q12s are $27.95 each, and they found their way into places like Christina Aguilera's and Puff Daddy's and Skywalker Ranch and other real high-end places. We leveraged that technology and we came out with the smaller D5. The main focus of our design has been twofold. 2 things. First, coaxial, and that means the high frequency driver is in the center of the low frequency driver. coaxial so that they're phase and time coherent. The second thing that we really wanted to accomplish is we wanted every speaker to play the same way, because no two speakers are made the same on an assembly line. So we have an internal DSP to match the curves, and what that does is it protects the imaging so that there's no imaging shifts. These speakers have been voiced by really sophisticated voicing people, real studio pros, from Francis Buckley and Gerhard Yost to Chris Bellman. Chris is a mastering engineer at Grumman, and Francis Buckley's got a Grammy for Best Recorded Record with Quincy Jones, and Gerhard has got just a whole host of awards, including Emmys for TV work, and he just did a Super Bowl commercial with the D8s. But they helped voice the D5s and the D8s, and the real point of the D5s is to make sure that the mid-range is really clear and coherent and reveals any clicks, pops, or those kinds of things. Interestingly, one of the first people to buy a D5 was Paul Calder from Futurama, and I was a little surprised that one of the first ones went there, but he loved them, and then all of a sudden they started filtering through the Fox lot and other places, and they've kind of made their way into these video editing places, because they really do an incredible job. They're small, and they've got a tremendous clarity in that mid-range, and they can really reveal edits and pops and stuff. In fact, I was shocked when I first took my first pair of voice D5s home. I was laying on the couch listening to an old Jethro Tull, that's right, Jethro Tull record. I was listening to Stand Up, recorded in the 70s. Terrible recording. But I was laying down listening to it, and for the first time, I heard the flute behind every organ part on Reasons for Waiting, and I knew that we had real detail in the mid-range. I then went back and listened to some Beatle records, and to my horror, I often thought that Rubber Soul was the first perfect record, but they started hearing the edits, and back then they were razor blade edits, and I heard all the edits, and now unfortunately I hear the edits every time I hear those songs. Yeah, the D5s really do point out the issues throughout that mid-range.
How much are they going to set you back?
These things are available online from EquatorAudio.com, and they're $399 a pair. Yeah, an unbelievable price, really are. Hi, this is New for NAMM. This is Ted again, and I wanted to show the new EMC Equator monitor controller. This is balanced in, unbalanced in, balanced out, and a trim control so that you can actually adjust the two outputs. Monitor selector here switches between monitors that you have. 3 inputs. The third input selector is actually a Bluetooth selector. So somebody walks in your studio and says, I've got this track I want to use, they can just fire it up on Bluetooth. Right? And that actually came to me. I was in a studio in Hollywood, and it does a lot of work. And one of their composers came in and said, "Hey, this is the track I want to do," and he had it on his phone. And the engineer fumbled for about 10 minutes trying to find a way to get it from his phone to his monitors. And I went, "Wow, there's a product there, and this is it." It's using really high-end codecs. I mean, you're not going to want to record with Bluetooth, but it's for what I just said. But it's there. Cool.
So I apologize. The video seems to be out of sync right now. I don't know what to do about that. So, oh no, it's catching up. Okay, cool.
So that was the portion of the program where you go to the bathroom. I guess everybody figured that out.
We all had excellent bathroom visits. No, I just wanted to say about the microphone that everybody's using to be interviewed. It is a EV635A, and this is a mic that they used to literally hammer nails with in their campaign to promote it back in the 70s when it came out.
I used one.
I have used many a mic during the trade shows, right? Because people invariably, especially if it's Sennheiser, Audio-Technica, whatever, the second I put that mic in front of their face, like, oh no, I can't talk into that mic. My boss will kill me. So they immediately swap it out with something. And you know what? Every time they do that, it sounds worse. This mic sounds better, and I'll tell you why. It's because it's idiot-proof.
You can't break an Electro Voice mic.
You can't break it, but you can put it here, You can swallow it. You can hold it down here, and because it's an Omni mic, it sounds pretty much exactly the same, no matter where they put it. You know.
When did they come up with the Shure SM70s and 80s? What year?
70s? The SM7s?
I mean,
or 7?
No, the ones that they use in stage, right? 70s.
Oh, SM58s,
58s and 57s.
Yeah. In the 70s, yeah, the Neodyme.
And they're still using those on stage now. It's amazing.
Absolutely. They pretty much perfected them 30, 40 years ago.
I'm not so sure we need like new microphone technology and stuff, really.
I'm not
we
sure
really don't.
either. How everybody's duplicating Neumann TLM, the U47s. And in fact, the one thing I didn't show, which all this stuff's on YouTube. You can Google it. Look it up. You'll find this stuff. There's a video. I interviewed the guy from Cathedral Pipes. He's just making a U47, U67 mic. Basically, it's the
decapsule.
He's using the capsule from a U47 and the electronics and tubes from a 67 or whatever.
You know what? The guy from Rotund Rascal. What the heck's his name? Pearl.
Okay.
Dave Pearl.
Oh, Pearl. Yeah.
Perlman. So he made me a mic.
TM1.
No, he used 47 and the 67. The reason being is the 67 was the one that had the slight rise in it at 5 to 7K. For those who are listening, that just means is sibilance, where your s is. And so I didn't like that. But then he used some of the stuff from the 47, which is a flatter mic. And it's a pretty incredible mic, and it's a tube mic, and
so I mean, you're wondering, it's like, what can we do better? Because we're all imitating mics perfected 70 years ago.
It's true, yeah.
Well, here's one that was perfected 70 years ago. Here's an Electro Voice Cardax. It's a crystal mic built in like this incredible heavy-duty shell.
Is that a crystal mic in that
Good
thing?
evening, Mr. and Mrs. America, and to all our ships at sea.
That means it sounds like this.
Or it's real. Yeah.
Uh-oh, here it comes. Yeah, that's one of those.
Well, let's run a quick spot, and then we can blab with this guy for a little bit longer.
Yeah, we got lots to talk about with JS.
All right.
So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
VO Studio Tech. Recording made simple.
Hi, I'm Peter McHugh.
This is Jim Tasker from Los Angeles, California.
Hi, this is Bill Ratner in Los Angeles.
Hi, this is Scott Rummel here in Yorba Linda, California.
Hi, my name is Rick Wasserman.
Hi, this is Tom Kane.
Hi, my name is Vanessa Marshall.
Hi, my name is Zurich.
Hi, I'm Mary McKittrick.
Randy Thomas chiming in.
Hi, this is Joe Szymanski.
Hey, this is Rick Robles.
Hi, my name is John Patrick Armstrong.
I was turned on to George by none other than Don LaFontaine, who always swore by his help.
George is absolutely awesome.
ISDN, Source Connect, Phone Patch, FTP, you name it, George has set it up.
It's really the best thing I've ever done for myself. I feel free, safe, fearless, like anything is possible in here.
Unless you like to look for opportunities to waste time, call George.
And he did all of that, long distance over the phone and the internet.
I'm very happy with George, and I cherish him.
Thanks, George. You make it easy.
Hey, honey, the faucet's leaking again.
Later.
Oh, sweetie, the trash smells. Can you take it out?
Later.
Babe, your mother's on the phone.
Later. Ah, cool. Oh, darling, how about a back massage?
Later.
East West Audio Body Shop. Everything else can wait.
And we're back here on East West Audio Body Shop on a Monday night. Yeah, the Olympics. Yeah, how exciting.
Oh, I don't like watching the Olympics.
I did watch the American women's hockey team really beat up the Swiss hockey team. And it was the men's Swiss hockey team. And it was...
Do you know what you call a hockey player with all their teeth? Rookie.
Yeah, I was going to say rookies. Yes. I was going to say lousy because they're never playing.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're here with our very good friend J.S. Gilbert, joining us in George's actual, high-tech
And
studio.
I'm a Jamaican bobsled alternate. Just so you know, any moment I can be called and have to go to Russia. Any moment.
It'll take you a while. It's gonna take you a little while to get there. So how you doing?
Me, I'm doing okay. I'm doing well. I'm. You know, it's interesting. It's a lot of my friends who have been doing this for a long time, and maybe I make some of the people feel better out there, but guys that were making like a couple $100,000 a year or whatever, and they're like going down the tubes. But what I'm really seeing now is that there is a strategy. There's a lot of strategies that people have that they're applying to their VO businesses, and they're working. And one of the strategies I think is that when you look at what other people are posting online and stuff, there is this sort of thing that people do where they, there's a term for it. It's called ad hominem, but it's sort of like a specific, non-specific. So you get people that say, wow, I'm doing great and I'm only in my second year. But what does that mean? That might mean that this is a person who now feels that they're ready to just start auditioning, or, so I think it's really kind of important that we don't pay attention to what other people necessarily are saying online about what they're doing, or I just recorded my 8th book. Well, maybe they're not getting paid to do the books or any of that kind of stuff. And that's the thing. I think we look at all these things that everybody's doing, and in our minds we think, well, we're less than, we're not doing as well as other people. We should be doing better. Oh, look at them. And it's not, just don't pay attention to that. Look at yourself, look at what your own personal needs are and things like that. And so for me, it shifted a lot in terms of what I was doing a few years ago. Wake up at noon, go do an audition, maybe work an hour or two a week. And now I'm, I would definitely say, I had somebody say 6-7 years ago, JS, you don't know what it's like. You're not in the trenches. And I would say right now, if you're in voiceover, I don't really care who you are, unless you're like a top name, you're in the trenches. But that doesn't mean you can't find decent clients, you can't find decent work, and you can't make it work for yourself.
Absolutely. But there's lots of opportunity in the business now, and you've seen it completely change in the last 10 years.
Yeah. So, if you're one of those guys that was doing this for years and years and years, going, when I started, we would go to the ad agencies, we would go to the clients and stuff like that, and you're somebody new, you've got a leg up on me, because one of the things I am is I'm an actor and I need an audience. And so now doing auditions from home with nobody there, it just kicks my ass. I can't stand it, and I want to be out there and I want to be with people. So, we have to make changes in terms of who we are and where we get our motivation and how we can produce a good product. And so for people who have been doing this a while, it's either a situation of, what they call it, the emperor's new clothes. You don't even realize you're naked, or you put yourself in a position where you say, please tell me, am I naked? And that's what's been going on for me. I mean, I've done big stuff. I was the voice of Chevy for the state of Texas and Oklahoma. I've done Coca-Cola, McDonald's. I'm currently the voice of Clorox. I mean, but in so many ways, I'm that guy out there who just, I'm thriving off of the feedback. I need that. I want to perform for people. And that's what's making it tough for me, the transition, I think. But a lot of people are just getting into it now, getting into this business now. They don't come from that sort of place. A lot of different avenues that people are using to get into it. And then again, I should say probably, 95% of what I'm doing right now is not going to get on a highlight reel. It's not, it's work. It's certainly better than, shoveling coal.
Well, let me ask you something. Do you still work with a coach or a mentor or somebody that you can bop things off of? I'm actually, it's one of the reasons why I'm out here. I do have some work out here. I'm recording something tomorrow, but I'm kind of in search, and I don't mind telling you, I have a hard time dealing with a lot of the people that are out there that are in the marketplace right now that are presenting themselves as coaches and teachers and things like that.
but I definitely need to get to that place where I can find some more people that I trust and I can work out a program where I can run stuff by them. I definitely always respect the LA mentality of an actor is constantly working on their craft and training and you know, I've done improv for like 30 years. I need to get back out to my improv group and I haven't been there much. But that's one thing I think that really keeps you sharp. And then just really having people you trust that you can bounce stuff off of. And not people who are just going to say it because, you know, they want you to like them and they don't want to hurt your feelings and that kind of stuff. Because I don't really think that helps people at all. So,
yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So we got a couple of questions here from the audience. Steve Tardio asks, he has an opportunity at writing freelance jobs where they hire voiceover people. Would you recommend mentioning to them that you're a voiceover artist, and how do I do that without jeopardizing my freelance job with them? He's worried they might put them off for, you know, them asking for voiceover work and not concentrating on what they really hired him for.
Yeah, I don't know. Personally, it's for me, it's difficult because I wear a lot of hats. So I still do commercial writing. I actually still, I do gag writing for some comics and stuff out there. And commercial writing, commercial producing. Occasionally I get brought in to even do things like, briefs for ad agencies or working with them on white papers and stuff like that. And I generally don't really push the voiceover a whole lot, but it's to look for an opening. It's to just really try and find that opening. So if you don't have much of a relationship with these people yet, I might not bring it up right away. Let them respect what you do first. Let them develop some trust in terms of your abilities and develop a rapport. And I think that's probably, then you can talk to them maybe about other things, and it could even be beyond, you know, just doing voiceover. It could be editing other voice talents if that's something you want to do. Yeah. When I first came out I was with William Morris back when we had the big commercial strike in 2000. Back when Seastrem was just, you know, I think it was like his first year with the agency and stuff. Now he's like a big shot and he won't talk to me.
Eric Seastrem.
Yeah. Anyway, that's okay. I'm with Vox. Vox, they're great. But when I first came out here and I was playing out here, I realized that actors were coming out here and they were presenting themselves as actors. And so what I preferred to do was just to get somebody to like me because, hey, we played handball or we went to the same school or we knew some of the same people or whatever.
Human connection,
yeah. And I see a lot of people doing this kind of stuff online too, where it's just like, you know, hey, look at me, look what I can do. So rather than thinking so much with the voiceover in terms of writing, how can you really be the most incredible writer you can be? And then once you've kind of gotten into that sort of point, then move forward, unless there's an opening before that, you know. But
yeah, Devox, who's never short of questions, asks, any thoughts about you actually going back behind the glass? I mean, I love to direct. I mean, once you've been doing this for a while and you get a chance to work with other people and say, yeah, try it this way, and it's a whole different perspective, isn't it?
There's a problem. I'm not 30 years old. Well. So the ad agency people tend to look at me a little bit different. In fact, I was hired to do, I might as well talk about it. I can't actually. There's an NDA. Okay. I will just say I was hired to do some concepts for a very, very well-known game, but this was for the trailer for the game. And so I came up with all these ideas and everything, and I sent them in, and they shot me down, and they thought that I was, you know, too old and I didn't have my finger on it. And then they pitched the client, and inevitably, not with my stuff, but with whatever they came up with, and they lost. And then later on, I didn't know this. Later on, I saw all my concepts basically employed in the promotional material for this particular game. And so I called them up, and there were a few expletive deletives on my part. And they said, we didn't even get the job. And I said, really? Because you shot me down on my concepts, on my ideas. And guess what? That's what your competition went with. So I think there's a lot of us out there, you know, over the age of 40 who still feel very viable, whatever, but it's getting to be a young man's game. The stuff that's being offered to me, what's happening is that the producers are in a position where they have to pay talent so little in order to make up for the lack of profit for them. And I refuse to take work that's going to not allow me to give proper payment and proper credit to the people that work on it, whether that's the cameraman or whatever. It's bad enough. I was shooting car stuff a couple of years ago. In fact, September did some work for me, September Day, and some people that are out there in the chat room. And I did a lot of car, and they shot us down. At one point, it was me, a lighting guy, and an assistant. 3 of us on a 2-camera shoot. I'm directing the thing and running a teleprompter at the same time. And this is what they're, you know, what the expectations they have. Just so people know, when I first got started, it wasn't video, it was film, and we had about 100 people on one of these things. You know, there were 2 people just to get coffee for everybody. So it's a little rough. And also I've had some physical issues and health issues too. So going out and working as a producer on say for a TV commercial, that's like 14-hour day, and it's a little rough for my body. So, you know, I am lucky. I do get to do some directing, but it's local, and the talent's usually picked for me. So, you know, it's clients that I've had for a long time. I certainly want to do it, and I'm happy to do it, but the other thing too is it seems like every voice talent now isn't just a voice talent. They're a writer, they're a producer, they're an editor, they're this, they're that. You know, there's nothing wrong with just being a good voiceover.
That's true.
Yeah, you need to focus, man.
Yeah.
You need to, I mean, people, you know, hire me to teach them how to do audio stuff, right? And they're like, I bought Pro Tools 11. I really want to know how to use it. And I'm like, do you, and as well, like, people will record, you know, auditions, and then I'll hear all the edits, you know, and I said, do you want to be really good at editing or really good at voice acting? You got to decide. You're not going to be good at both unless you've been doing this for 30 years.
Well, that's the point. It's you know, a lot of us that have been doing it for 30 years, we do have these skills, and you're not going to learn these skills overnight.
No.
You know, and so, you know, do the best you can, but concentrate on what you do well.
Yeah.
To start with.
Well, that's the thing. Even now, I mean, I have ISDN at home, and I have a pretty professionally built booth. I mean, the guy that helped me build the booth used to work for Walter Storek, so. You know,
for those who don't know, he's like, if there ever was a household name in studio design, it's Walter Stork.
So so this guy said to me, you know, well, you need to get rubber grommets, and we're going to have to your beams, your joist, your whatever they call them, you know, they have to be split, and we put rubber in between. So you could drive a truck right outside the booth, and my sound meter is like my noise floor is like around minus 65 or so.
Wow.
Yeah. It's
in a home studio. That's very impressive.
And so, but, and being at the end of the runway from San Francisco International, that's pretty good too.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. But still, even given that, when I get a lot of jobs, I like to go out to other studios. I particularly like being the talent. I don't want to be the talent, the director, the audio engineer, the guy who has to get me my drinks, and that's the thing I really regret a lot about the business. I do like being able to audition at home, and I could do 25 times as many auditions and that kind of stuff. But I do kind of miss having all the various professional roles filled in for you. It just seemed to me like it was always better. And then again, as an actor, these are people you're performing for, you know, so I'll never forget. I mean, I went out and I did a commercial. This was maybe 15 years ago it's a health commercial. And, and the director said, we really want to feel it. We really want to feel it. Well, I know this is going to sound weird, but I had a pet rabbit named Fudge. And we had this rabbit for 10 years. She lived under my desk in my studio. I mean, it was, and she had just passed away. And suddenly when I started doing the read, I was feeling like my rabbit had died. And I was just, and when I looked up, everyone in that room from the agency side, they were crying.
Yeah.
They were literally crying. I can't do that now. I mean, I wish I could, but the rare occasions when I do get to go out to studios, and it is rare. I mean, it's not like it was. I would say 80% of my work is done at home, ISDN or just, on my own devices or Skype.
Right. Right.
And then the other 20%, I don't know why, but the stuff I'm being asked to do, the NFL on, they came to do battle on the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. That kind of stuff. I'm being asked to do stuff like that. It's not, I don't know why. I shouldn't say I wouldn't hire me to do it, but.
Well, we keep hoping that the announcer style will come back, and that'll give some of us who are announcers a little bit more opportunity.
I do this Philips 66. I'm the spokesperson for them. And there's some, if you go on YouTube, you'll see there's some funny stuff from their campaign. It's called Real Heroes or something like that. And it's like a staring he's the champion of staring. It's, it's funny kind of stuff, but it's in that voice and it's read so fast. There's no acting. Yeah. I think Pee-wee, if you put Pee-wee in or something, Pee-wee, Philips 66 Pee-wee, you'll find one.
Pee-wee, P-E-E-W-E-E?
I think so. Oh, yeah. There's the starings right there, and there's Pee-wee.
Staring contest?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's watch that real fast.
Okay.
At Phillips 66 Gas, we strive to bring you the best in performance gasoline. But now we want to find the Phillips 66 of other things, like staring champion Matt Miller. His stare is as powerful as an engine running on our gas. He can bore through a man's soul like our detergent additives can break through engine deposits. That's why he's the Phillips 66 of staring. Think you have what it takes to be the Phillips 66 of whatever it is you do? Show us at phillips66.com and you could win free gas for a year.
Right.
It's funny, but there's not much acting. By the way, that's not me. If you thought it was.
Yeah, no, that wasn't you.
That's what we call ADR, and if you're not familiar, it stands for automatic dialogue replacement, and it's not automatic. So, and this guy was mumbling, I guess, when they actually went out with him, he mumbled, and that's so. Do you know how much work I've gotten because other people have sucked?
I think that's probably the case with a lot of us.
Keep that in mind. Stick with it because there's a lot of other people out there that suck a lot more than you do.
That's right. Nowadays, I'm probably sucking a little bit, and other people are getting work because of that. But what can you do? I don't know.
I do have to tell a story. You and I had dinner in
with
San
the lovely
Francisco.
Ann Richardson and Roxanne Hernandez Coyne, and and we had shaking beef. Pretty much all of us, I think.
We all had the shaky beef. But this is a Vietnamese restaurant in South San Francisco.
Yes.
And I wouldn't call this place the Ritz. I wouldn't call it Antoine's in New Orleans or anything like that.
It's a neighborhood joint. Yeah,
it's a neighborhood joint, and of course, all the non-Vietnamese people are shoved into the corner. And because you can tell that the food's good if all the local Vietnamese folks are in there eating this stuff, and we're having a wonderful time, just a fantastic time in this restaurant. The food was fabulous, the company was great. It was great people that were there, and we finish our meal, we start walking, and now this guy is sitting at the table next to us. And now remember, I'm from Buffalo. I'm here in the Arctic. We're in South San Francisco. This guy is staring at me the entire time. And by the way, there's a reason I'm telling this story. You're going to love this, George. Anyway, we were, this guy's staring at me. We get up, we start walking out of the restaurant, and he looks at me. And he says, "Didn't I see you in a YouTube video?" And I'm like, "Well, maybe. Which one?" I mean, we do a lot of video stuff. He goes, "Yeah, it was about the Harlan Hogan porta booth See, I told you it was going to go somewhere. And I'm like, yeah, that was me. He says, yeah, I recognize the mustache. That was really cool. And I'm like, so JS having to one-up me on this starts. It's like, hey, you play video games? Now, what did you tell him?
I don't know. I'm sorry. I figured
it was okay.
I bought dinner though.
You did buy dinner. I'm not making fun of you. Yes, I am. But it was it was very cool being recognized so far from home for a video about the Harlan Hogan Portabooth Plus, or actually, it was the original one was the Portabooth. And you can go over to voiceoveressentials.com and you can get that. And actually, I think you can still see that video. And then you can run into me somewhere and say, hey, I saw that video.
Exactly.
But the Portabooth is a great little device because it does allow you to do your stuff on the road, and with a much less room reflection. You don't have to build yourself a pillow fort. And
I sold mine to a contortionist. They do a little thing.
Really?
It's kind of
they're very small.
Do they get inside it?
Well, yeah, I'll give you their number.
Yeah. Yes. But they now come with a really nice nylon cover to them, and they fit even in the small jets baggage thing up top there.
Yeah.
And so you ought to go over to voiceoveressentials.com. If you don't have a Portabooth, you really should, because, it's like I always say, you don't want to work on the road, but if you have to, it's probably one of the best things you can get.
If you're a road warrior that really has to record from the road, I mean, if that's really how you're going to make your living, and you need to have consistent sound quality, consistent acoustics, this is pretty much the easiest way.
You know what? And I'll just add something here because I have one, and I was having a little trouble with it. And Dan has a great video actually that he put together, really nice of him, where he shows. I didn't realize, but really, if you speak towards the top of the box,
right,
with the microphone towards the front,
right,
and if you put your copy on top of it, it works actually quite well. So,
and you're talking to the top lip.
It does take technique to get the best sound.
And Harlan's got some nice products there. I think he, and I can't knock the MXL microphones either. They're
I'm talking into one right now.
Yeah,
this is a 15-year-old.
George's using an MXL. They did they took one of the MXL microphones. It was the Mogami one, the XL69, I think, or something like that, which is very similar to Harlan's. And they compared that with U8. They had a guy and a gal sing on it, U87. 21 engineers. They couldn't tell the difference. So.
I know
that just tells you how bad the engineer's ears must be. No, I'm kidding.
Well, I mean, I had to do my test. There's a test on here on the website of me comparing a U87 and a VO1A. I was in the studio. I had both, and you can listen to my test right there.
Dave Smith has put the actual video in the chat room, so you can.
Dan, and if I may, Dan and George don't know I'm going to do this, but I kind of want to just do a plug with them. Those of you who know me know that I pretty much hate everyone. I'm an equal opportunity despiser, if you will. I think everybody basically is born to be disrespected until you really do a lot of things for me. And Dan and George are two people who really haven't done anything for me at all. But I like them despite that.
So the question was...
Sorry about that.
Oh,
sorry.
No.
Please.
So what I want to just say is one of the things I respect about both of them is they're about getting from point A to point B. It's not their job to tell you how to make money in this business. And I don't think it's anybody's job to tell you how to make money in this business, for criminy sake. And in fact, if people start talking to you like that, I would say run the opposite way. A lot of it's a crapshoot. I believe in advocacy. You have to have people that want to see you do well, and those have to be people who have a sphere of influence over somebody or something being able to get you work. Now, Dan and George have come up with inexpensive ways that make sense. it's not about having the best and the shiniest or the brightest or whatever. It's what you've got and making the most out of it. You know, you need to be competitive out there, not in a sense of, you know, this is your craft or whatever, but your stuff has to sound good and it has to be consistent. And that's something that Dan and George can bring to the table. And then the other thing that I think we forget about sometimes, I forget about it sometimes, is that Dan is a heck of a great voice talent. And so, you know, when you're out there and you're thinking about, hey, I got a client that needs a voice talent, or, maybe there's an opportunity or something, I can tell you this, there's nobody that would appreciate it more than Dan. And you'd be doing your clients and your friends a favor by sending them to Dan, because he will respect your relationship, he will respect the client, and he will do the best job that he can.
Oh, I really appreciate that. That's awfully nice of you. You know, it's interesting that you say that about, you know, doing things simply. I was in Target this afternoon, and it struck me that anything that you can do in a home studio cheaply, you can probably get at Target.
Well, we eat. I mean, you ever heard of dog fooding? You ever heard that? It's a verb.
Dog fooding, no,
or an adjective.
I've missed that.
Dog
somehow.
fooding is a term that we use now to describe that eating your own. It's a short version of eating your own dog food, which basically means to say, I want to be on camera. There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Basically, it means when you eat your own dog food, it means that you practice what you preach, or you do. Okay. So when I say you can use a $200 mic or $100 mic, or you can get away with this Scarlett 2i2, or you can deal with this and you don't need to buy all the. We're using the stuff.
Yeah.
Like Dan is he's using a Scarlett 2i2.
It's right there.
You know, he's using this gear
with
to
all
make
this other crap.
To make money. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, we're not saying that you can get by with this stuff. We're saying no, we do get by with it. We make a living. I don't make a living with it, but my clients that I recommend this gear to make a living with. It's like the other day.
Can I tell people you're going to be helping out the Tick?
Oh yeah. Well, sure, okay.
The Tick, yeah. He said, you remember, everybody knows the voice of the Tick, or Putty from Seinfeld.
Who was Putty?
Putty, that was
from Seinfeld.
From Seinfeld. The Tick, the same guy.
Yeah. But he was Elaine's boyfriend?
He was Elaine's boyfriend, right.
Okay, yeah. Patrick Warburton.
Yeah. And his stuff is sitting right here next to me.
Yeah, I got everything but the acoustical panels sitting right over
there.
Yeah. But thanks, man. That's pretty cool. But
no, you work with very cool people.
These people these celebrity voice actors, they don't want studios. They want, his setup is going to be an iPad, an Apogee 1.
Because he wants to be an actor. He wants to act. He doesn't want to be an engineer or a studio owner. I don't want to be one either. Yeah. That's my setup at home. Is designed that way too. I mean, I have two setups, but one is basically going into a USB Pre 2 sound devices, and then that goes into my computer. Why do I like that? Well, one of the reasons is it has the -4 dB limiters in it. I never clip that puppy. Now, my other system is for clients that are like very demanding. So that's going into my my Millennia ST1, and then from the ST1 it's going into the Apogee, and then from the Apogee it's going out into the RE whatever it is, 3275 or
RME Hammerfall thing?
Hammerfall.
A really expensive AD converter.
Yeah, so basically, what you're getting is like impeccably incredible sound. But then again, I mean, these are people that are, I'm doing, that scale and a half work for, so
and they have an actual audio engineer at the other end that's actually using your audio and processing it.
Yeah. So
see, that's
and
the
if
thing.
you do it, and I do game voices. See, that's the other thing that a lot of the games companies don't want to work with home studios because they process the hell out of it. And I'll give you, I was talking to George before, testing a lot of mic pre's, and then after you record the audio with it, running it through what they call the time machine. That's an audio compressor or time compressor. And the idea is you want to see how much you can shave off of it before it starts to artifact. And there's these like incredible testing devices.
You'd like the Charter Oak compressor because that thing is
Charter Oak, and the Charter Oak mics are incredible too. Love them. So, so looking at this equipment, and can you take something and shave off 5% without it artifacting, or 10% or 15, or in some cases 20% when the chain is like really super clean and pristine. Anyway, it makes a difference sometimes, and it depends on who you're doing work for and all that kind of stuff. But it's probably not something that most people need to be that concerned about. But I don't know.
It doesn't matter how much gear you know about and how much of an engineer you think you are. When you're like under the gun on a high pressure situation with a with a high stress client that can't tolerate wasting 10 seconds. Stuff just has to work. It just has to work, and it has to be idiot proof to use as much as possible. And I never ever rest on my laurels and say this is the right gear for everybody. I never say, well, that worked 5 years ago, it'll work today. I'm always looking for something better.
You get some clients, and Warburton. Okay, if I can say this, I mean Warburton's probably got some pretty decent money. I mean,
sure,
okay. And I'm looking at what he's got here, and it's not crap, but it's not. It's not hundreds of thousands.
I could have sold him almost anything.
So
maybe.
Did he say? Yeah. So does a client usually say like, I want to spend $5,000 or I want to spend $2,000, or what do they say?
I'll tell you, man, that's the hardest thing to do. It's you go into these situations, and most people who are somewhat celebrities are not. They're going to assume that you're in there to sell them as much crap as possible, right? They know they're wealthy. You know they're wealthy. It's like it's not a surprise. So when you go in there and you say, well, actually, all you need is this, this, and this. They appreciate that, right?
I would think so.
But they don't come out and say, I want to spend. They usually don't come out and say, I want to spend X. I'll drop one more name just because I don't get to talk to guys at this level. But I did almost get to put a studio in for Ted Danson and his wife who's another actor,
Major
Steenburgen.
Yeah,
and we only got to talk while he was while he was driving one time or something, and. He wasn't prepared to spend what it was going to take to do what they wanted to do the way they wanted to do it.
Gotcha.
And when I dropped some numbers, that was the last time I ever heard from him again, right? So it doesn't matter how much money you make and how much money you spend, but if you don't know what it costs to get from A to B and do it at the level that you need it to happen, whatever that dollar figure is, it's not going to be what you might think it. I mean, if you don't, it's like saying, I'm going to go buy a new car. I expect it to be $10,000, but the car I actually need is $2,000. When you buy that $2,000 car, you're going to expect it to break down. You're going to expect it to be a piece of shit, right? And that's the thing is pricing is it's such a mind screw. And I recommend pieces online. Like people will say, "Oh, get this," and I'll say, "Get a Behringer UCA 202."
Well, I'm not a big fan of Behringer.
This is a $30 little USB AD converter. That's all it does. RCA's, just a little tiny thing. But if you need to just plug it into a mixer and solve a problem, you need to go from analog to digital, and you need to use Skype or something. This thing does it perfectly. But the second you drop it in there, JS is you say that B word, and immediately.
Well, because we used to know Behringer equal buzz.
Behringer now is PV from 10, 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah. See, PV used to make really crappy stuff. Yeah.
But PV made really good stuff before they made crappy stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Then they had a kind of a renaissance. Now they're making good stuff again.
Yeah.
But once you slip and start making crap.
Well, it's like Sears.
Yeah.
Sears made the best stuff in the world. I was a big Sears fan. Then I went in there and I was like, what? And then that's all it takes.
So anyway, we could go on and on, but
we
don't get stuck with.
And then Dan's got a product that he developed called the Studio Suit, which I think most people know about.
This guy, man,
and he's Dan's been going out and setting it up, and all I've heard is really good things from the people who have it, and somebody posted.
Dan was just sending you a $1 bill.
Somebody just posted a sound file the other day from one of the people that you set it up in their place.
Oh, yeah?
And I listened to it, and I did some critical listening with the what do you call it, with Sony? And I actually was pretty surprised.
SoundForge?
Not this, but Vegas? No, the other thing, the
Vegas.
no, it's colors and all that kind of stuff.
Spectrograph?
Spectrograph, thank you.
Yeah.
And so I went in there and I was looking it over, and I was really pretty amazed because I guess apparently their space is relatively humble, and you did a nice job with that.
Well,
no, I mean that's why I respect that.
for.
I mean, these are guys that are not doing like $300 Skype hour, coaching sessions with you and asking you to ride, on unicorns with cotton candy in your hand. Maybe not everybody that does that is worthy of my my disdain, but I don't know. Somewhere there's plenty of people out there that are working with folks, and they're nice and they're respectable, and they're not trying, to run over actors with their BMWs.
Well, Studio Suite's another prime example of an A to B. Here's to get from A to B easily, because there's a lot of acoustical solutions, but the VO Studio Suite, just tack the thing on the wall in your closet, and you're like 95% of the way there. I mean, there's nothing else that's easier. There's foam. There's all kinds of crap. But the thing is, the foam, it's a mess to deal with. You have to glue it or staple it. It doesn't look very good. And it ends up not often sounding very good unless you have bass traps and all this other stuff, So It just works.
Well, if we ever sell the place, I'm just going to tell folks the studio, I'm going to say that's a Nerf pantry. Put some shelves up in it.
I have this window open. Let me just show this. This is Dan demonstrating, and then we'll let everybody go because this has been a long show. And
I know. Well,
we will never ever get down to a less than an hour long.
I talk way too much.
As long as we live.
Did we mention everything? Did we talk about our pal Harlan Hogan?
We did talk about her. That was that story.
We're going to wrap it up here for the Harlan spot that never ended. Here we go. And Dan, you're not going to hear the audio, and I apologize. Here we go.
What about Ed Studios? Portabooth Pro with an iPad and an Epigee mic. Well, it's pretty simple. You set it up. I have it set up here on a bar stool. If you want to do it standing up or sitting, I'm just sitting in my desk chair here. But if you're sitting, you can have it at this level because this is actually the right level. If you want it higher, you can always put a suitcase on top of something and just keep raising it till you get it to the height that you want. But I have it set up here about maybe the last eighth out. You can actually go a little bit deeper with it like that. Also using the special EWABS pop screen with this. You'll notice I have it angled just a little bit. But iPad, if you have an iPad that flips up like that, that just goes there like that. And here we go. Another quick thing. With the Portabooth, it's really important not to talk into the middle of the Portabooth for a number of reasons. One, because you'll pop your mic and stuff. The same rules apply. So 5 to 7 inches, and talk just underneath the top lip forward, like you would with any normal condenser mic. A word of caution. Simply stating your values and posting them on a wall is not good enough. As managers, we have to model the behavior we want and live it every day. Lowell McAdam was president of Verizon Wireless when I retired. He likes to describe the culture as a muscle that needs to be exercised or it will weaken. You're hearing it directly into the computer here, and that's how you use it. Now, will it pop? Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Yeah, but if you use it properly, that shouldn't really happen. And you should be able to read comfortably without talking directly into it. Let me know when you're coming back.
Let's see what it sounds like. I'm back. Yeah, so, I mean, there you go. That's a real-world demonstration of the actual Portabooth Plus in action.
It was an aha moment for me.
Mm-hmm. No. I mean,
I'm glad.
There's no way to get around mic proximity. There's a certain proximity you need to have with a mic for it to sound good.
And these guys know there's a donate button right there up on the left.
No, usually it's broken.
Yeah, it seems to be broken this week.
I got to fix it.
It's not broken.
Is it there?
It works just fine.
Yeah, but the button disappeared. See, there's supposed to be a button right here. It's gone.
There was a button before I used it.
Yeah, I broke it or something.
Oh, yeah. Dang.
Yes.
Anyway, JS, it has been wonderful having you with us tonight.
Thanks. Have I been on more than anybody else, or pretty close to it?
No, close to it.
Yeah.
Who's been on the most?
Tom Kenny was on for. Well, I mean, you were on for the entire show.
Yeah,
that's pretty a long time.
Yeah, John Taylor, I think, has been on the most.
Taylor, okay, there you go.
Yeah.
You know what? But
we haven't had him on for a while.
He's really entertaining, though.
He is.
That's why we have him on, and so were you.
He's a good guy.
Well, I could do my Morgan Freeman.
Can you go
for it?
Give us your Morgan Freeman.
Well, I really hope a lot of you will come out and see my latest picture. You know, it is a tour de force. It's me and Chris Christopherson and a dolphin. And that dolphin is an incredible actor. Chris Christopherson, he came in drunk every day, smelling. But anyway, it's a good picture. Come see it.
I'll play another one here in a minute after we're done. That was recorded by Larry Davis.
Larry Davis.
Oh, well, yeah, Larry.
Yeah.
I used to do those types of voices, and then Larry Davis.
We have a lot of people to thank, as usual, for this show. Of course, we want to thank our contributors like Eric Aragoni and J.S. Gilbert and a bunch of other folks. We really, really appreciate that. Of course, I want to thank our wives for putting up with this every week. Our producer, our producer Kathy Hurridan, who gets us our fabulous guests here every week. And speaking of fabulous guests, next week we've got Eric Shepard's going to be on the show. My agent.
So you're going to have a bottle of scotch here for him? Is that?
Well, he'll be in New York. He can get his own bottle of scotch.
Oh, okay.
And then the following week, Celia Siegel, who former agent, now a voiceover marketing person, will be on. And the first Monday in March, we are going to have one of our legendary Audio Masters roundtables, and that's all set to go, and that's going to be lots of fun. I think we're going to have Juan Carlos Bagnell join us again for that one too. So that'll be a lot of fun.
I think we got a new guy for that one too. There's this guy I met from Canada named Steve Sisk.
Yeah,
I think we're going to have on, and he knows his stuff too, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, so that'll be great, and so make sure you join us for that. See, we got this stuff planned out. We're a month ahead already. So, you're going to get the best.
Who'd you have to bump to get me on the show tonight? That's what I want to know.
We're not going to say.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, thanks for being with us, JS. It is always a pleasure. Can't wait to go visit you again. And
at some point, I'll have to. When I lose most of my brain cells, I'll come down to see you. And I don't know. Actually, I think I'm not allowed in New York State.
No,
it's a long story.
That's okay. Nobody's allowed in New York State. They won't let us leave either, which is another problem. Anyway, that's going to do it for us tonight. All of you folks in the chat room and joining us live for the show, we really, really appreciate it. We're here every week, Monday nights. When was the last time we took a Monday night off?
Dude, we've been on a run, man.
Well, next Monday's President's Day.
Who cares?
I guess we could do it.
Right. Also, remember, you can get your East West Audio Body Shop clickers, just $5, and there's you can get them through PayPal. I think there's a link in there somewhere, and these are hot items. Everybody wants a clicker.
JS is walking out with one today, man.
Oh my goodness! I got an East West.
What's this show called again?
Audio Body
Shop.
It says it right on there.
East West. It's Voiceover with Bondo.
Voiceover with Bondo.
All right, man. I need a drink.
All right, I got to eat some dinner. All righty, I'm Dan Leonard in the East.
And I'm George Whittam with J.S. Gilbert.
And I'm going to be going out and having some spaghetti.
Oh, great spaghetti there in Santa Monica. And together, all of us are East West Audio Body Shop. Hey, it worked on IPDTL. Maybe we'll still keep using that.
I'm impressed.
All right. Okay. Good night, everybody.
Cheers,
Miami
everybody.
audiences are the greatest.
You're watching East West Audio Body Shop with Dan Leonard in the East and George Whittam in the West. They're nice guys, but every time I'm there, they never let me make water. So I'm going to go make water right now. I'm a grown man.